Hello everybody, this is Vigilant Soldier. Now I want to say this is a video on actually what I was considering before, and it's called What Should a Christian Eat? Now it's not what can a Christian eat, it's what should they eat. And we're going to explain why I'm doing it, what should they eat in a second. Now if we look here, it says what Peter said, "Not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean." So yeah, that's clearly demonstrating that he's never ever touched one of the unclean meats. Now we can see that, but however, if we see the now he's saying that he's never eaten an unclean meat. That's what he's saying, because you know they're bad for you. And in the Old Testament, eating unclean meats was forbidden. It was like sinful. Now, if we go to the next verse, we can see this. It says, "And the voice spake unto him a second time, What God hath cleansed, that call not now common." This is saying God has cleansed the unclean meats, and at least from what I've seen, it's saying that God has cleansed the unclean meats. So we can see that Acts make this quite clear that the unclean meats have been cleansed as such. It doesn't mean they're healthy, which just means that they have not been, this is in Peter's vision, by the way, and it means like, it doesn't mean they've been like made healthy, it means it's just been cleansed, so it's no longer sinful. Now, however, there's something about this. Christians, right? There's it's basically like, wait, things, awful. Now, I think this is it. Yeah, there we go. This now, 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 23. This is it. Now, this can also apply for sin in a sense. Like, sin is not lawful, sin is breaking the law, but it semi-applies to that. I'll explain like that like just now, actually. And I'll actually do a complete other video on this, but the King James Bible says, "All things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but all things edify not." So this is saying that not all things will help you. This is talking about like weight. Now, this can actually be applied to unclean meats, because it means like, just because you're allowed to eat the unclean meats, it doesn't mean it's good for you. It doesn't mean it's good for you. It will not help you. In fact, it can actually cause some very bad things. Now, like, this can also be applied to sin, because like, just saying like, if for example, if you say like, yeah, sin, well, we don't go to hell for sinning, you could say that, but then again, it doesn't help. Sin doesn't help. Sinning isn't wise. That's how it applies to sin, because if you sin, it doesn't mean you're going to hell, because if you're saved, then you're saved. Sinning can't send you back. If you're truly saved, then you're always going to be saved. Once truly saved, always saved. So yeah, sinning won't send you to hell, but it's not good for you. We shouldn't be sinning constantly. Now, God's dietary laws, why pigs, crabs, and lobsters are bad for you. See, now, one thing I might just point out is that the pig doesn't produce sweat glands. This means that it's very toxic, because there will be toxins inside of it. Unclean meat is toxic. These animals are very unhealthy. As Christians, we should be eating better stuff. As Christians, we should be eating healthy stuff. A vegan diet is probably the best diet for us. Like, so I'd advise either a vegetarian or a vegan diet. Am I a vegetarian or a vegan myself? No, but I do plan on slowly switching my diet to that, because I understand it is hard. So, like, for example, when I'm older, I'm probably going to make the change from a meat eater to a vegetarian or a vegan. Most likely vegan, because a vegan diet is probably the healthiest. And yeah, I'm going to do a completely other video on that. So yeah, if we go down here, oh, right. So you could go up. These creatures have different like purposes for them. For example, they act as God's natural trash cans, if that makes sense. They don't go around hunting for food, but they'll like punch large, for example, the filter feeders, such as oysters, mussels, scallops. They'll pump rather large amounts of water over the grills, trapping small pieces of silt, bacteria, viruses, and plant debris for the dinner. And yeah, the mussels, the filter feeders help filter the sea, and that they'll yeah. So basically, when we eat them, they are we're eating also everything that they're eating, and it applies the same with pigs, because well, pigs are pigs, the sweat glands and that, when we eat them, because they're still keeping the toxins in, we're also technically eating what they're eating. So, for example, a pig, say if you find a dead human, if a pig finds a dead human and starts to eat him out, what do you think that happens? Eh? What does that tell you about yourself? Because if you're eating a pig, which is part of a dead human or part of a dead pig, even that's pretty disgusting. Like, pigs eat quite a lot of things. Pigs eat their own feces. Pigs been known to eat their own feces. So think about it. Just think about that. Think about that. What you're eating when you're eating bacon. Now I gotta admit, I do eat bacon sometimes. Bacon's nice, but I do plan on stopping from that, and I do repent from it. I do plan to repent from it. I do pray about it and say to God that I'm sorry for being unwise with my food choices. So yeah, you can eat what you want, but you can eat anything. A Christian can eat anything. But what should we eat? What should we eat? Well, we should be vegan, because that was the original diet. The original diet was vegan or vegetarian. I think it was vegan, yeah. The original diet was a vegan diet. So we should, as the meat wasn't actually allowed to be eaten until it was necessary for Moses and that, until they had to, because all after not Moses, why did I say Moses? Yeah, it wasn't Moses' time, but I mean like Noah, because after the flood, Noah had to eat meat because all the vegetation, it had all been like ruined after the flood. So he had to eat the meat. He had to eat them because, well, yeah, those meats had to be there, because, if he didn't, then he'd die and starve to death. So yeah, we should be aiming for the original diet, because, well, we should be trying to become as perfect as possible, and becoming vegans would actually help us in our health. And it was the original diet, as I said. So God intended for us all to have a vegan diet, and we're also going to be vegans in heaven. So shouldn't we be trying to be as heavenly as possible? In heaven we're going to be vegans. So I'm not saying you don't have to do this, but this will really benefit you with God. I'm not a vegan at the moment, but I do plan on slowly transitioning over to it. So yeah, this is the Vigilant Soldier. I'm saying, what can a Christian eat? Everything. Like, a Christian could eat whatever they wanted, but what should we eat? Well, we should be trying to be vegan, or at least vegetarian, or if we're not going to do that, at least try to eat the clean meats of the Bible. At least try to eat the clean ones, and try not to eat unclean meats. So I'd advise you to be wise with your food choices, and yeah, because we should all be trying to be like, eat healthy. Now you can research why these things are, bad, but yeah, like these filter feeders, these feed off the filters basically, and as I said, their actual food, they're eating, we're basically eating them too. Lobsters, that's scavenged for them animals. They're like lobsters are like the vultures of the ocean, so we're eating like dead animals through them. Yeah, you know what I mean. I know we're eating dead animals. That's not the point, because they're all going to be not very healthy for us, and they'll be rotting away. They were created to be the cleanup crew for the bottoms of lakes, rivers, and oceans. They were not intended to be eaten by human beings. And bugs and reptiles and that, they were actually created to control the population. That's what they are. They're like God's natural population controllers. So yeah, this is the Vigilant Soldier here, and I'm just saying, we can eat whatever we want, but we should be trying to be vegan. I'll be trying to be as healthy as possible. If you're not being vegan, at least try to be vegetarian, or at least like trying to eat as healthy as possible and eat meat as little as possible. And if you're not going to be vegetarian or vegan, that's fine. You don't have to, but at least try to eat the clean meats of the Bible, and like at least try to get away from the unclean meats. I struggle with this, but I do plan getting away from this habit, because it is bad. And I just say, just try to not eat the unclean meats. I don't hate anybody, by the way, who eats bacon. Anybody who eats bacon, because that's not just like, it's not exactly great, is it? Which I don't hate anybody, but what I mean is like, just try to eat the clean meats and not the unclean meats, because the unclean meats will be bad for you and they'll do more damage than good. So this is the Vigilant Soldier saying, Christian can eat anything, but we shouldn't eat it. But we should be healthy as possible. Just try to be as healthy as possible. This is Vigilant Soldier saying, over now.